Hey moms, welcome to the Gather Moms podcast. My name is Kate.
And I'm Rebecca. We've created this space just for you because we're both moms and we get you.
Yes, we believe there truly ain't no hood like the motherhood, and we need to be in this together. We also believe we can't mom well without Jesus, so you're going to hear us talk about him too.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Gather Moms and make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss a single episode.
All right, mamas, let's jump in. Hey moms, welcome back to the Gather Moms podcast. This is episode 110, and this is part 2 of How's That Working For You? So let's talk about what's not working for you. For me, one thing for sure is I've slipped back into not getting up early enough. Mm-hmm. So I'm not getting up.
That time change. It's over, done with in the past. Now we're just back in the comfort zone.
Well, yeah. So it's like I'll set the alarm for 6, 6:15, 6:30, but I just cannot get my tail out of the bed.
Yeah.
But when we did Good Morning Gather.
Yes.
I mean, I was on a streak, man.
We were on a streak, yes.
And it was so great.
Yes.
Because I was getting up. It was quiet in the house. I was spending time in the Word. I was exercising and getting dressed before the kids even got up.
Right.
And I felt like so ahead of the game with that.
Yes.
And I cannot seem to get back on top of it.
It's the lifelong, endless pursuit of discipline.
Yeah.
I just don't think we're going to arrive till Jesus comes back. I'm pretty sure when he brings the new earth with him, exercise is part of the day. We're all going to love it. We're going to do it early. But until then, we're just going to struggle.
Yeah. Yeah. And go through seasons with it.
Yes.
The other thing that's not working for me right now is that my kids' rooms are staying messy. Mm-hmm. And I vacillate between letting
Word number 3. I'm keeping track.
Letting them, there's that part where it's like some parents say, we
close
just
the door,
say,
let it go.
It's your room. As long as things aren't growing in there, we're going to let it go. And then there's some parents that are really strict about it. And for me, I don't see myself in either of those camps. I don't want to be militant about it and wear them out. But I also, it doesn't work for me, when I'm trying to go tuck them in at night and I can't see the carpet to get to their bed.
Yeah.
Because there's wet towels.
Oh,
there's
the wet
dirty
towels.
Clothes.
Yes.
There's 4 pairs of shoes.
Paper plates with food that they have not thrown away.
The trash. The papers. Caroline's rooms, of course, got toys and things like that. And it's just guys, how did this unravel so quickly? Mm-hmm. For us, the cleaner comes on Thursday. So always on Wednesday, I'm before we go to bed, I'm everybody get it. Make sure everything is straight. Cleaner comes.
Wednesday is your rough day too, man.
Wednesday's a lot.
Y'all are woo.
Yeah. And if we forget, then that means that I'm getting up early Thursday morning to get everything straight. And then I'm mad.
Right.
Because I go into each of their rooms and I'm
how dare you?
Caleb, one day I sent him a picture at school of all these bags of Cheez-Its that were under his bed. It's anyway. So I just have to, I'm feeling like this is not working. And so something has to change because I'm on this crazy cycle where then at night I'm creating a bad environment because I go to tuck them in and I'm and I'm, instead of it being I love you, let's pray.
Yes.
I'm irritated.
Of course. I understand.
And I don't want that to be how we end the night.
I get it. I do. I don't have an answer.
Well, I talked to Jeremy about it. I really think that we're about to have a little family meeting and say these are our expectations. And it's not even that you have to make your bed every day. It is just no dirty clothes on the floor, no shoes on the floor, no trash out, and no food or drinks out. Really and truly, if those 4 things were taken care of every evening before tuck-ins, that would be enough for us to be able to stay on top of it.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
And I think we're going to
see my kids doing that.
If I go in and those things are not done, you don't get screens the next day. Right?
That's a
it's
big deal.
got to be serious enough.
Yeah.
Because I thought about doing points and stuff, and I'm no, I do not have time to keep up with all that. I need
no
to
sticker charts.
Exactly. I don't have the margin to manage all of that anymore. So I need something that's swift and painful.
Well, and here's the deal, because I feel like their rooms are not big enough anyway.
Yeah.
We don't have enough organization. So part of me just feels bad.
Sure.
I'm I know you don't know where to put some of this stuff.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have a home.
But that's the thing is I'm not asking them to like Marie Kondo their room. I'm just saying.
Because Marie Kondo's out.
That's right. She's out anyway.
She had that third kid and she was like, I don't even know what I was asking y'all to do.
I'm not asking them for perfection. I'm asking them for some order. That things just are put back where they're supposed to go.
That is a tweetable. Somebody tweet that. Or we're going to put it on a post. I am not asking for perfection. I'm just asking for order.
Yeah.
Yes, girl.
Yeah.
Winner.
Yeah.
That's good.
So that's where I am with that.
Hobby Lobby. Put that on a picture, please.
Yes. So those are my big ones. What about you?
My gut. Okay, so this is, listen, over 40. Your body just says, I'm done. I don't want to biodegrade food for you anymore. Decompose. Whatever our gut does, whatever it is, my gut's not doing it.
Yeah.
So I am on day 2 of gluten-free. I did it. I am so fed up. I'm at the end. I'm so fed up that I'm willing, finally, at the age of 44, to try it. So day 2.
I'm proud of you. You can do it.
Y'all pray for me.
Honestly, you can do it.
I'm already like, what?
Once you get used to it.
That's what everybody says. But it's that first, it's any type of habit.
It is.
That first few days where you don't know what you can eat and not eat, and you don't have it in your house because you didn't know you needed it.
Yeah.
So you have to go find it.
Yeah.
But I am committed to figuring out how to make my gut happier.
Good.
I love you, little gut.
Yeah.
I need you for another 40 years.
Yeah.
Let's figure this out together.
Lydia had this party, and I can't really eat gluten, and I really limit sugar because it makes me feel bad. But Lydia had this party, and she had cookie cake, and that's like my kryptonite.
So
like
good.
I can't.
So good.
The smell, it's like a moth to a flame. I just can't.
It's amazing.
So I had some, and I mean, within 5 minutes, my head hurts.
Yeah.
I've got bathroom issues, and it's like, oh, why do I do this? I know I cannot eat this.
Well, that's the thing. I do feel like my body is telling me, and you're just, for a long time, you're willing to endure. You're like, it's fine, buddy. It's fine. I would rather have this. I don't even care.
Yeah, sure.
And then it's just what you were saying. How's that working for you? At some point you go, okay, it's not.
It's not working.
And how desperate am I to get better?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Let's give it a go.
Yeah, good for you. I'm proud
I'll
of
keep
you.
y'all updated. And anybody that's got good gluten-free things, y'all send it to me. I need to figure out where to buy this stuff.
Well, I guess my advice would be to try not to buy the gluten-free things.
Well, that's what people have told me. They're really not that good for you.
They're not. It's just a swap of other not great ingredients.
Yeah.
So then you just try and figure out, like, how can I eat? Like, for example, like when I eat spaghetti and meatballs, I use spaghetti squash instead of spaghetti noodles. And at first you're like, wow, I'm really missing out. But pretty quickly, because you're feeling better, you go, oh, actually, that's good.
Yeah.
I
just think I'm a lazy gluten-free.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't got time to cut up a spaghetti squash or get some zucchini and make noodles. I'll just eat the sauce by itself.
Okay.
Just be happy.
And you can do that.
I'll just eat it.
Sometimes I just eat meatballs with cheese on it. And
that's right. That's all. That's what I can do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I think it's just, you'll get there, but you have to reframe the way you're thinking.
Reframe. Yes.
But that's a lot even of just like what we're talking about here is just kind of reframing some things because like the way we've been doing it isn't working. So now we need to think about it a new way.
Well, and I think what you're saying too is there comes a point where you're desperate.
Yeah.
Like as a mom, you finally decided I am tired of hitting my head against this wall.
Yeah.
There has got to be a better way. Mm-hmm. And instead of putting a Band-Aid on it, we're going to sit down and we're going to reframe.
Yeah.
How can I do this better? How can I do this different?
Yeah. And that's why, like, dude, if you're going to counseling or you have a mentor, like, that's when these things are really coming clutch because you have somebody that you can, like, have structured time where you think these things through with them.
Yes.
That's one of the reasons my counselor, I keep going to see her even when I'm not in crisis because then it's just like, okay, let's game plan some stuff.
That's great.
And she helps me.
That's great.
So some of the people that responded said, interestingly, that we're talking about bodies because she said struggling with body image with summer coming.
Oh, for sure.
Right? It feels like it's right now, right?
Yes.
There's all this stuff out there about I've been eating tacos or whatever, and now it's like in 8 days I have to put on a bathing suit. So not going to bed early enough, something we talked about, that just endless scrolling, just laying in the bed scrolling, and then it's like, oh, it's midnight.
Yep.
And I've got to be up at 6, and here we go.
Yes.
Too much sugar and not enough exercise, and then another staying up late. Those were kind of the big ones that kept coming in. So when I thought about this and I thought about Dr. Phil, I feel like there's kind of this Dr. Phil moment with Moses in Exodus 18. And so I want to read the story to you, and I'm going to skip a couple of parts because there's some details and stuff in here. But basically, God has brought the Israelites out of Egypt through Moses. If you remember that the Israelites had been in slavery for 400 years in Egypt, and Moses had been a shepherd, and God calls him out of the burning bush and says, I'm going to use you to go set my people free. And he sends him to Egypt, and we have the plagues and all this stuff happens with Pharaoh. But eventually they come across the Red Sea and they're set free. And then they wander for a time, and that's kind of where we are here. And this is Exodus 18. And it says, now Jethro, remember him, he's our Dr. Phil.
God, I love that name.
You love Jethro?
If I had another kid, I would name him Jethro. Jake, Judd, and Jethro.
Wasn't
that sounds
Jethro
so
like
good.
in the Beverly Hillbillies?
Yeah, but I think we're far enough away from that I could like bank on the biblical side of it.
Okay.
Yeah. If you go to Jethro, I'd say good job.
Okay, good. Okay, great. Now, Jethro, the priest of Midian and father-in-law of Moses, so he's his father-in-law, heard of everything God had done for Moses and for his people Israel, and how the Lord had brought Israel out of Egypt. After Moses had sent away his wife Zipporah, his father-in-law Jethro received her and her 2 sons. And he called the name of the son, my father's God was my helper. He saved me from the sword of Pharaoh. That's what Moses had named him. And then Moses' father-in-law Jethro comes back to see Moses where they are. And he said, I'm coming to see you. So Moses went out to meet his father-in-law and bowed down and kissed him. They greeted each other and went into the tent. And Moses told his father-in-law about everything the Lord had done to Pharaoh and the Egyptians for Israel's sake, and about all the hardships they had met along the way and how the Lord had saved him. And just to pause right here, I'm thinking about us as moms, like we have these children that we have wanted. You know, God has blessed us abundantly. We have seen him answer prayers, right? These wonderful things that happen. And it says, Jethro was delighted to hear about all the good things the Lord had done for Israel in rescuing them from the hand of the Egyptians. He said, praise be to the Lord who rescued you from the hand of the Egyptians and of Pharaoh, and who rescued the people from the hand of the Egyptians. And then they offered sacrifices to God. And then it says, the next day Moses took his seat to serve as judge for the people, and they stood around him from morning till evening. When his father-in-law saw all that Moses was doing for the people, he said, what is this that you're doing for the people? Why do you alone sit as judge, while all these people stand around you from morning till evening? Like, you can imagine how exhausting that must have been for Moses, right?
Yes.
You know, he's holding so much on his own. And Moses answered him, because the people come to me to seek God's will. Whenever they have a dispute, it is brought to me, and I decide between the parties and inform them of God's decrees and instructions. And Moses' father-in-law replied, what you are doing is not good.
Do you think that's how he said it?
I bet he said to him, well, how's that working for you? You and these people who come to you will only wear yourselves out. The work is too heavy for you. You cannot handle it alone. Listen to me and I'll give you some advice, and may God be with you. You must be the people's representative before God and bring their disputes to him. Teach them his decrees and instructions, and show them the way they are to live and how they are to behave. And select capable men from the people who fear God, trustworthy men who hate dishonest gain, and appoint them as officials over thousands, hundreds, and fifties and tens, and have them serve as judges. And if there's an especially difficult case, that they can bring it to you. That will make your load lighter, because they will share it with you. If you do this, and God so commands, you will be able to stand the strain, and all these people will go home satisfied. So Moses listened to his father-in-law and did everything he said. He chose capable men from all Israel, made them leaders of the people over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens, and they served as judges for the people at all times. Then Moses sent his father-in-law on his way, and Jethro returned to his own country. Isn't that a great story?
That's a great story.
You know, that has ministered to me at different times in my life. But I think especially, you know, when we look as moms, we feel like it all falls to us. And so we take on so much because we do have all these people coming to us for the answers. Mm-hmm. What are they going to wear? What are they going to eat? Who's going to sign the field trip form? Who's going to help me with my homework? Who's going to get me to this or that? there is so much that we feel like falls on us, but it's not sustainable. We end up getting burned out, and it causes, our own health to decay. It causes the health of our family to decay. And that's not how it's supposed to be. We tend to think that, we're helping them so much by taking this on ourselves. But really, it's not helping, because they need to be able to learn how to contribute and live in community as a family, and for everybody to be part of the solution. So I just
thinking of personal experience from the past few days.
You are
100%. Where I am working at my computer, Greg is playing video games.
Sure.
And these children want to ask me questions.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how, looking between the two of us, do you think that I am the more appropriate adult in the situation? And it's because they know I'll answer.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do. We stop whatever we're doing to help. Oh,
yeah.
Baby. Let me help you, baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they have got to learn.
Yeah.
You are a contributing member of this family.
That's right. And then it just works better that way, But you just think about, with my kids and, having them do their own laundry, it just was hilarious to me when I got to college, and there were these girls that, turned all their clothes pink because they had not a fat clue how to wash a load of laundry.
Right. Or how to make a box of mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Or how to write a check.
Yeah.
Or how to mail a letter.
Yes.
We talked about that last time.
Yes. But we think it makes us a good mom if we do all the things. No, it just makes you a tired mom.
Yes. Working just like for Moses from morning till night.
Yes.
Yes.
And really, what we want to do is try to give our job away. That's what we're trying to do so that they can mother themselves, as they go. What? You don't want to give your job away?
I think that's funny the way you said it, though. That's our goal.
Give
our job away.
Because they need to be able to.
I like being their mom.
Well, but that's the rub. Isn't that the rub? Is you want to be wanted.
I like when they need me.
Yes. And so, but then it causes us to do things that, maybe we shouldn't. Because we have that, but that's the Enneagram 2 in you, is that wanting to be wanted. It really is. So I think when we look at things and we kind of go, okay, this isn't working, I'm exhausted, or I've been doing this dumb thing over and over, and I keep opening this door, and I keep getting hit in the face with this big red glove, so that we would stop and get some counsel from somebody ahead of us, or somebody that's on the outside looking in. I have a girl at church that I mentor, and she'll just bring stuff to me and go, hey, how do you see this? How do you see this going? I'm not necessarily all knowing, but it's just somebody else from the outside going, hey, help me game plan this. How do you see this?
Somebody farther down the road.
Yeah, and just a little further down the road.
A little further down the road. That's right.
So I think what we see here with Jethro and Moses is that they make a plan. So there's a plan in place. This change doesn't come across haphazardly.
Right.
There's a plan in place of, okay, how are we going to do this? This is how we're going to implement this deal.
Right.
This is how the change is going to happen. Then that it's communicated. Then the plan is communicated. So if it's for you and you're saying, okay, I'm going gluten-free, that you make a plan, okay, these are the foods I'm going to eat. Then even that you communicate that to your family. Hey, Mama's having to do this.
Y'all stop eating spaghetti in front of me.
Yes. We're going to make some different choices. Things are going to look a little bit different around here. And then finally, it was delegate. That there was then a third step where it was okay, now let's everybody help share the load. Okay, you're going to take this piece of it, and you're going to take this piece of it.
Yeah, that's what I liked from that scripture where you said, then they can carry the load with you. Mm-hmm. It's not like you're abandoning them. You're just joining forces. Let's do it together.
Yeah. So when I used to help lead our life group, and we had so many families in there, and I was what was called the class coordinator. And, I thought I will just do as much as I can to make this as easy as possible for everyone. And I went to a training, and this great guy had this illustration, and he put a canoe on top of a table, and he sat in it with 2 paddles, and he said, this is how the class coordinator often feels, that you're the one sitting in here with the paddles, everybody else just gets in the boat, and you're rowing along. Well, what's going to happen to that person eventually?
They're going to get tired.
They're going to get tired. And probably before they get tired, they're going to be irritated, right? Because they're like, well, I'm out here rowing. Of course, nobody else is doing anything, This one's eating a snack. This one's playing video games, but I'm out here doing, But what happens then instead if we just say, no, actually to make the boat go, we're going to hand everybody a paddle, everything changes because not only does the boat go so much faster, so much further, but everyone is doing less work when the work is spread out.
And they're having fun.
Yes, and then you're all in it together.
That's right.
So then as you move across a deadline or a finish line that you go, we all did it together,
Yes.
We all helped mom feel better together, or we all made, the house better together, or we all got on, better night's sleep together. Like that it's a team mentality.
Right.
That we stop making ourselves these martyrs and these victims, and we kind of go, wait a minute, that's not working. Let's get out ahead of this. Let me seek a Jethro. Let's come up with a plan. Let's communicate it, and then let's delegate.
I love it. I think that's great. And I think, honestly, it would make a huge difference. And maybe don't try like 14 things at once to get ahead of. Maybe just start with a couple.
Yeah.
Because I do think sometimes we get overly zealous. We're like, all right, everybody's got their list. Not only are you responsible for your laundry and your room and the dishes, let's just start small. Just start with a few things.
I think that's so good because we do come out guns a-blazing. But that's usually the point I get to where I'm like, I'm setting everything on fire. Like when I walk into their rooms and it's a disaster and like literally it was clean the day before. And I'm like, that's when I just go to the wall and I'm like, I'm taking everything you own and taking it to Goodwill.
Yes,
you just you just lose it. So I think if we can kind of identify, okay, what is the major pain point here of what's not working? And then just kind of make a decision, set some reminders, get some accountability, communicate it.
Listen to the Bible often so you feel in a very good mood.
Yes. Except when you're stuck in Job and those friends are giving bad advice for chapters upon chapters upon chapters. And you're like, y'all are the worst. Y'all are the worst friends. But yeah, I think that can make a difference. And, we have so much going on as mamas. We're so busy. We're juggling so much that I think it's good for us to kind of take this time together here on this platform where we have this space to kind of go, okay, wait a minute, just slow it down for just long enough to think about what is not working and let's make a change. It doesn't have to be that way.
Oh, that's good too. It doesn't have to be that way. That's right.
If you're feeling worn out and burned out, let's change it.
That's right.
Let's change it as much as you possibly can. My heart goes out. If you're in a situation where you're just under it, and for right now you're just having to endure whatever situation that you're in, there are certainly those seasons.
For sure.
But by and large, we have a lot of ownership in our ability to influence, how things are going in our lives.
I agree.
And not only that, we, if you believe in Jesus, then you have the wisdom of the Holy Spirit who is creative and who gives counsel and who helps us see things as he wants us to see them.
That's right.
So that we are spending our time well, that we're taking care of our bodies well. And, if we can start making decisions, I think the last thing I would end with is just thinking about, we talked about Atomic Habits many episodes ago, but I've actually been listening to it again a little bit. That's a great Audible, Atomic Habits. He reads it, James Clear, and he's a good narrator. But it's, he talks about the idea of making votes for the person you want to become.
That's right.
That every day when you make a decision, when you make a decision to say, okay, I'm gluten-free. So breakfast comes and you don't have gluten.
I want the McDonald's Egg McMuffin.
Yeah. And you don't have it, then you put a vote in the box of I'm gluten-free,
That's right.
and you have those opportunities. And so for me, I need to decide what do I want my family? What are we saying? Well, we're good stewards of our home. We take care of our house. And we believe that all these things that we have here, our towels, our clothes, our food, our shoes, are gifts from God.
Yeah.
And we want to take care of these things and we want to honor this home. And we also want it to be a place where people can come and we're not scrambling to shut doors and throw things in closets because it's, a mess. And so how do we daily make votes to be those people? And, James Clear and Atomic Habits, it's not a Christian book, but the whole concept, we find that in Galatians, because in Galatians it says that you reap what you sow. So when you are sowing into this choice that you want to make, this change that you want to make, then you eventually, that's what you reap.
That's right.
You're making votes for that person. For me as an 8th grade girl, I had to decide I am not going to be in a situation, in a relationship with someone who doesn't treat me well. I am worth being loved and cared for, and being in a healthy relationship. And so I have to shut this down. I'm going to make votes to be that girl. So that means I'm not answering this person's phone calls. I'm not reading his notes. I'm not talking to him in the hallway,
Because he couldn't text back then?
Yeah. There was no texting. Mercy.
He was sending you paper.
But, just whatever it is where you feel like something's not working for you, that you look and go, okay, how do I want it to work? What do I want it to look like? And how can I start making votes, to be that person or have that thing work so that things look better?
I think that's good. I think it's super practical. And I think we're coming up, potentially in summer where you have some more margin.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying you got a ton, but you got some more margin where you could just try some stuff just to see if it works at your house.
Yeah.
And if you hand out some responsibilities and it's not working, then pivot.
Yeah.
Let's try something new.
And keep in mind that when you do something new, there's always a little bit of a rub.
That's right.
Right? There's always a little bit of pains. And I think that's one of the reasons we're resistant to changing, because it's like, okay, we got to think of it. It requires mental energy, emotional energy.
For sure.
Right?
Yes.
Time. Because if it's something that we're doing for ourselves, like I know I keep harping on you and the gluten thing, but you're having to apply mental energy
that I don't have because the gut has caused me mental fog. So therefore, I am not thinking clearly.
Double doozy. Yes. But it's like, or like teaching kids to do their laundry, like for a minute,
you're going to go through detergent faster than you thought you would.
Yes. And you're going to be like, what are these kids doing? Did a monkey fold this? How does this even, but eventually you start getting momentum in the right direction.
That's right.
So I think about sailing growing up when it would be time for us to turn, the captain yells out, ready about, and the mates on board say ready, and then he says hard lee. So when you start to turn, though, on a sailboat, a lot of stuff has to change. These ropes start to move, the sail has to swing over, and it takes time. The bigger the boat is, the more time that takes. If I'm in my little bitty 12-foot sunfish that I have, I can turn on a dime. But in my dad's almost 40-foot boat, it takes us several minutes to be able to swing that boat around.
Yeah.
And so whatever you're looking at changing, if it's a little thing, you may be able to make the pivot quickly. If it's bigger, it's going to take some time. But you want to be going in the right direction. And so it's worth it.
100%.
All right, moms, we love you. We're so glad we got to spend this time with you. Look at what is not working for you and make the change. We'll see you next time.
Bye, moms.
Today's episode is sponsored by Raising Cane's. Y'all, Raising Cane's helped provide the meal for our podcast live event, and the moms just love having chicken fingers all to themselves that they didn't have to share with their kids. And our family loves Raising Cane's. It's our go-to stop after church. We drive through, and man, anything is good in cane sauce.
Listen, we're trying to figure out that recipe. So if you know what it is, go ahead and reach out to us because I would love to recreate it at my home for my family. But you can order your craveable chicken finger meal online or stop in at one of the 65 plus DFW locations. One love, people. Go get some chicken.